What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we are going to be doing day two, yes, rounds 2 and 3 of this mock draft with trades. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Go go check out round number 1. But we're going to be doing a quick little recap here as well, just so everybody is on the same page. There's quite a few guys who I decided to elect to return because that is a very, very real possibility. One of those guys is going to be Amarius Mims. I got a lot of comments on my last video. I didn't explain it enough during the video. Should have. But Amarius Mims, I'm considering returning because he just hasn't been healthy. And it's his first year starting, even though he technically could be a first. Probably could be a top 10 pick. So, he probably will want to elect to go back to school. The only other guys I've primarily designated to go back to school are these 3 quarterbacks right here. So that's going to put us in quite a bit of a pickle today. But yes, we're going to go and review what has happened, primarily the trades. Chargers traded up to draft Brock Bowers. I got some pushback on that for some Chargers fans. I know that, there are other needs on this team. It's a little bit cap struck, but ultimately, within 2 years, or even if you want to cut one of the wide receivers that are taking up a significant amount of capital, money-wise, like you will be able to afford this. So I do got to just push back a little bit there. This is somebody who's going to be a massive addition in that Kellen Moore offense. Had a quick little trade up here to draft Michael Penix ahead of Bo Nix. Just got to get that quarterback in there. With this as part of the trade back, I'm trying to see what I had for the trade up. I think, again, the Jets ended up trading. I think they ended up trading up at this spot here. Slipping my mind right now, but y'all can read. I'll just check for some other moves. We obviously had a couple moves with Washington to draft some edge rushers, etc. Same thing with New York and Philadelphia. So yes, we are now at this point. It was kind of trades galore, trades mania, whatever the hell you want to call it. Regardless, we just wanted to end up being in. It was fun to be able to play around the idea. Now, is it 100% realistic? Not 100%, but there are actually legitimate applications where teams like the Philadelphia Eagles would want to make a move up for someone who has the talent level of Latu. They don't have that many issues. They have a lot of picks. It works. But at pick number 33 for the Miami Dolphins, I know I feel bad for my Dolphins fans. I continue to kick y'all out of the first round. It's just because I know the guy I'd probably draft for you is here. And again, Amarius Mims is not in this mock draft. Otherwise, he would have went way earlier. Y'all know how much I love Amarius Mims. So for me, it's down to Troy Fautanu, who I absolutely adore. I don't think he'll be an actual tackle in the NFL, but it's him or one of the safeties here. And for me, I think because of the ambiguity of Fautanu's position and the upside of Newman and Kinchins, you got to go with one of these two guys. Brandon Jones, not really the best. I talked to Broshmo about this extensively, about what I should do for the Dolphins. And for me, it is still an area that I am a little bit confused in because I don't feel like you guys need very much at all. I know the tackles probably, but this is just not a good position unless you want to go Jordan Morgan. It is a likely option for us to go Jordan Morgan here because we do have pick 57. We'll go that route. We'll go after the true left tackle here. He's been performing very, very well, even against teams like UCLA. He performed very valiantly, so I'll give him credit where credit is due. At pick number 34, for the Vikings. Got a lot of pushback on this one. For me, I know that there are plenty of edge rushers still to take, and I think I will be taking one at this pick. You have 3 edge rushers that are up for contract, if I'm not mistaken, and I like to usually go defensive back for this team. A lot of people don't like that, but for me, I'm not fully sold that your corner core is up to par with the best receiving cores in the NFL, and I don't know if that's that much of a debate, but being able to get JT Tuimel out is probably the best thing you could do. We'll see what happens in terms of Danielle Hunter resigning, Marcus Davenport, etc. JT Tuimel out will be a very welcomed addition nonetheless. At pick number 35, this would have been a great Jordan Morgan pick. I think I did that in my last mock draft. Unfortunately, I don't trust any of the other tackles, and maybe except Tyler Guyton. Kingsley Suamataia, because his team could use both tackles, left and right. That could be a good pick. Could have been a good pick for the Dolphins too, but Jordan Morgan's a better day one impact. I am going to go Kingsley and then see where they end up with him on their squad. I know y'all need weapons, but at the end of the day, it's the Penei Sewell, the Jamar Chase meme with Joe Burrow in there. The offensive line does come first for a lot of teams. Pick number 36 for the Cardinals. We have made several moves with the Cardinals. We made a move back and a move up to get Kool-Aid McKinstry and Jerzon Johnny Newton. Now, for me, I still think that offensive line is a good position to go. I would actually really like Christian Haynes or Jackson Powers Johnson on this team. I also know there's going to be some good offensive line down the board. Donovan Jackson, you can pair him back up with Paris Johnson. Like, there's going to be good value down the board. Again, defensive interior, that's usually the place where I like to go. And since Chris Jenkins is here, it's kind of hard to disagree. Now, I want to double check and see. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that the Cardinals don't have the first pick. This is excellent value. Chris Jenkins, I don't feel like I need to explain that too heavily. He's one of the best players in the class, pound for pound, and it's a position of huge need on this squad. I know that we're pairing him up with Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton here, but this team has literally 0 defensive interior linemen. It's just such a good value because Johnny Newton doesn't bring the run stuffing specialty that Chris Jenkins does. Now, they're both great, but this team really could use 2 monstrous defensive interiors. And in your own conference, in your own division, you have pretty much every single team has their own unique superstar at defensive interior, if not multiple. So you got to continue winning in that arms race. Chris Jenkins, and again, it's a deep defensive interior class, but you're not going to find somebody with the talent level of Chris Jenkins there. At pick number 37 for the Bengals, for me, I am looking potentially at Cam Kitchens here because it is the best player available. We did end up, I believe, trading out of the first round. I think that was like the big one. Yeah, we traded out of the first round. I just didn't really think the value was that good. So this would have been a great Chris Jenkins pick. I'll tell you that. That would have been great. I do think Jatavian Sanders would be a good spot. This would be a good spot for him. This tight end class is pretty buns. He's the only other guy because I'm honestly started losing a little bit of love for Jaheim Bell. He's the only other one that I could probably see legitimately starting in the NFL. And my opinion is always subject to change. But, Jatavian, again, it's a very, very limited tight end class. And he does fit, a Hayden Hurst or an Irv Smith role quite well. So it's an instant fit. You're getting Joe Burrow some extra goodies. I don't think anybody loses in that situation. I'm going to go probably Tyler Nubin here for the Packers. I want to double check what I did for them in the first, which was Joe Alt. It's pretty standard fare. So, y'all know I normally go tackle, then safety. That's just how I roll for the Giants here. Packers. Pick number 39 for the Rams. So we went to Lisei Fuaga in the first round. Did that in my other mock draft as well. I think this could be where you start seeing some more corners go off the board. I love the idea of pairing Josh Newton there with his former teammate and Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. So I'm going to throw that in there. I still think that after losing Jalen Ramsey, they're still looking for a longer-term option at boundary corner. And, Kello Witherspoon's a fun little patch guy there, but Josh Newton's going to be the guy for the long run. And I know you got I'm forgetting the Wake Forest kid's name. It's not Kobe Turner. That's their edge rusher, but y'all know who I'm talking about. He's been doing fine, but Kobe Durant. I just think Josh Newton's going to be superior. Pick number 40 for the Titans. Again, Amarius Mims is not coming out in this draft. He would have been long gone, believe me. I believe that this would be a great pick for Cam Kitchens, though. I mean, can you imagine him replacing a Kevin Byard role? Oh, geez. Moving on. We got pick number 41 here with the Falcons. You have Bo Nix as your quarterback. And now the best value is probably going to be in the edge rushing room. You got Princely, Chris, Jonah. You also have one of my favorite players in the classic, Xavier Thomas. Big fan of him. There's not that many issues on this team, which is actually why I had them ending up at the end winning your division. But, shit happens. It really does. It's just a weird division that's been complete butt cheek since Brady. But looking at your options here, I don't really see anybody who fits except maybe Jasheen Davis. And for me, I think he's going to be there at pick 73. So I'm going to be pretty happy with this one. Kamari Lassiter and Johnny Wilson are on the board. And for me, I want to get both of those guys off, including TJ Tampa. And, I'm thinking the Eagles could be a good team to strike and select a top tier corner, which, yes, I know that it's not the biggest issue. And once again, just saying it now, Amarius Mims is not coming out in this draft. But actually, there's a new target that I want to trade back for. We're going to do bird to bird trade here. We are going to be going with the Philadelphia Eagles, trading up with the Atlanta Falcons. Again, a billion picks. Maybe it would take 97 and then you get like 146 in return. I'm going to take 137 and maybe like again like a future pick, maybe a player in here. Like you can do your own negotiating, of course, but like who cares? I don't even know why I'm spending time doing this part, but like part of me just really wants to. But like maybe let's just say Josh Jobe becomes part of the deal, right? Like you never know. Sure, we could do that. We could do. I forgot Terrell Edmonds was. Terrell Edmonds is not on this team. I thought that he was on the Titans. I thought he was part of that trade. Wow, they didn't edit this. That's actually quite sad. Let's just assume you could put in your own player, but let's just say they somehow make it worth it. Draft capital wise, it's not going to affect this mock draft, but the Eagles are moving up, and it's not for the corner that I was going to draft. It's actually going to be for Tyler Guyton to develop as a right tackle. I think that's the right thing for the team to do, no pun intended. Just get a successor for Lane Johnson. Also, injuries happen all the time, and this dude needs a year of development. Pick number 42 for the Seattle Seahawks. Again, oh man, there's Johnny Wilson on the board. This could definitely be a trade, but I know that I've already done that. I already traded out. This would be the Seahawks' first pick, and we have plenty of them, which, again, one of the things this team doesn't need is more picks. I would be in the mood to add Brian Thomas to have him be an understudy for a year, or Troy Franklin. I think that'd be very good. You can always go Jalen Polk here. You're essentially going to be getting the contingency plan for Tyler Lockett, because unless you go for a left guard, which, to be fair, Troy Fautanu, I actually like that. You can get him to be your left guard of the future and be able to fill in at left tackle in case of injury. I know it doesn't seem like a massive issue, but look how many picks we have. Like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. So let's get Troy Fautanu in here to play any position on the offensive line. Now you're gonna potentially have a super elite offensive interior with Olu. I was about to say Fashanu, but why am I forgetting the Michigan guy's name? I was a big fan of him last year, but also Lusaguna Luatimi, that's what his name is. But then also you have Anthony Bradford there at right guard. So then you could have Troy Fautanu at left for the future, save some money, etc. Also, you could fill in a tackle. That's the big plus. Pick number 43. So we moved up for Michael Penix. Based on the fact that we have Kamari Lassiter here, I do think a team should move up for a boundary corner like that. I am debating on actually having the Texans move up for this position. I could honestly go and have them move up for Johnny Wilson too, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to have the Texans move up because I think Steven Nelson we need a contingency plan for that. Let's make that very clear. And for a 9-spot jump, I think pick 120 would suffice. Again, do your own little negotiating on the side here. It's not going to affect the mock draft, but the Texans are trading up to get the boundary corner Kamari Lassiter for a long-term replacement for Steven Nelson. Is this something you need? No, but this team's been performing so damn well that you can just get guys that can develop into superstars, and you have the foundation already set. You have Devondre Sweat, you have Kamari Lassiter. That's going to be your recipe for success. At pick number 44, do we get another guy who drops with Johnny Wilson? That'd be quite funny. But we got tackle, we got safety. I think you, of course, could go defensive interior to get a run stuffer here, but I don't think there's anybody who I would take except Dante Corleone. To change things up, we will be going a running back here. And Marshawn Lloyd's the absolute freak show. He just fumbles too much. Trey Benson has the best vision in the class. Jonathan Brooks is all around. It really depends on what you want to go after. And for me, I still love Trey Benson with all my heart. And I think that he is one of the best running backs in the game. So he's well deserving of a second round pick. At pick number 45, so the Saints, we went after a quarterback, I think, in J.J. McCarthy, and we did. So J.J. McCarthy's on the squad. Again, Marius Mims not coming out in this specific mock draft. I would be open to the idea of a developmental safety like Kalen. Well, he's not even developmental. He's a freaking beast. I'm actually going to get the long-term play here in Kalen Bullock. There are other positions, like you can get Karan, for example, and have him develop, but your tackles are under contract for too long. You could go after a guard, but we also have other rounds to be able to do that in this draft. So Kalen Bullock's value is incredible. He is a top 32 player for me. At pick number 46, we are back. Arizona has 2 interior defensive linemen. Again, that whole entire D interior is crap. Now it's God tier, as well as Kool-Aid McKinstry. Looking at other positions to target, you could go after a wide receiver like Johnny Wilson at this point because you don't have somebody of that skill set. He's going to be a 50-50 jump ball guy. He makes 20-80 catches look like 80-20, and he makes 80-20 catches look like 20-80. It's going to be what you have to deal with. But 6'7", 240 pounds, unbelievable athlete, one of the best specimens I've ever seen in person because, he was playing against my rival high school, or he was playing against us as our rival high school in Calabasas, one of our rivals. But, Calabasas right down the road from Oaks Christian, got to see him in person. He is one hell of a freak show. So next we have pick number 47 for the Colts. We elected to go after Cooper DeJean in the first round. We did one quick little trade swap there, moved down one pick, ended up getting Cooper DeJean. Now, looking at other positions we could target, I think A.D. Mitchell could be a great choice here. To be fair, if you want to go a little bit crazy, you can go Jalen Polk or Brian Thomas. It really depends if you end up keeping Michael Pittman. If you don't, then there's a reason to start looking maybe for Jalen Polk or A.D. Mitchell, which I love A.D. Mitchell. But for me, Brian Thomas fits probably what you're looking for with the Alec Pierce role better than probably anybody else does. The question is, do you want someone who could step up and be a potential 1? I wouldn't be against it. Therefore, I'm going to go A.D. Mitchell here. He could be a number 2 if he wants to, but I think he's going to be the number 1. At pick number 48 for the Raiders, we got Jaden Daniels. Yes, I actually got some really positive feedback on that. Big fan of it. At this point, I'm going to get a boundary corner here in TJ Tampa. Really reliable, really solid. I do still have Dwight McGlothern on the board, who is one of who I have ahead of TJ, but TJ is going to get drafted before due to consistency and also potential injury concerns with Dwight, who's my number 21 player, but he'll be off soon. Don't worry. At pick number 49, we have the Bills, and Bills I feel like went after DB, in round 1, but they went after Malik Neighbors to be a wide receiver 2, and I think that going after DB is kind of a necessity at this moment. You just have to do what you have to do. And based on the discovery here, we are actually going to opt for, drumroll please, Dwight McGlothern, cornerback out of Arkansas. He is not listed. Therefore, he's going to be replaced, and we're going to boost Buddy Shaw-Smith-Wade's ADP, but it is a placeholder for Dwight McGlothern out of Arkansas. Pick number 50 for the Bengals. Again, Amarius Mims, not coming out in this. So we already got a tight end in Jatavian Sanders. At this point, I'd be willing to invest in Karan Ahmedjadeh because he's probably going to go to another team that you're going to compete against to develop. But ultimately, this guy could be an absolute freak show. He had a season-ending injury, but before that, for someone playing at Yale, he played with such finesse and such talent. I got to show love where love is due. We still have one of my top 11 players in the class and Christian Haynes on the board. It's understandable. Again, there's just guys who don't go to big schools who don't get the love they deserve. But I'm looking actually at the New York Giants here. We've already traded up, unfortunately, with them before. So we're actually going to hold off. But there are a couple teams that I think could use a right guard. I wish for the Steelers we could do that. But, I think James Daniels is perfectly fine. And, we're going to be happy with that. We're going to be happy. At the same time, I'm honestly thinking that the Dolphins could be aggressive here. I rarely am aggressive with the Dolphins. However, I'm looking at the edge rushers available at this pick, and I know that there's probably going to be one selected at the next. I have to go after one. And Princely, out of these 3, they don't exactly fit the profile that you have. Jonah's the lightest in the 240-pound range. Chris Boswell's 255. I think Princely is just 250. Oh, he's 255 as well. So we're going to go Chris Braswell here. I think it'll be a fine addition. You can have Zach Harrison be more of that full-time role at the 270 range, but you need to continue adding more and more pass rush because this team doesn't exactly need much, but can still get more. At pick number 52. So this team, I don't know why they're saying running back is such a big issue, but that's something you can go down the board for. Looking at the edge rushers that are available, I love Jonah Ellis. He is now a top 32 player for me. I think this team can be perfectly happy with someone who's a little bit on the lighter side. Therefore, they're going to get an absolute steal in terms of overall talent. At pick number 53, I think the fact they mentioned linebacker in this group is absolutely ridiculous. However, with Ezra Cleveland gone, we're going to be drafting Christian Haynes out of Connecticut, my number 11 player in the class. So Vikings fans, rejoice, because even though you traded back out of the first, you're getting somebody who, in my opinion, is well worth a first-round pick. So you get JT and you get Christian Haynes. At pick number 54 for the Cowboys, did we go after Graham Barton? We did not. We went Nate Wiggins. I think that's a fine selection. Looking at it now, I feel like we should go after Jackson Powers-Johnson or after Cedric Van Pran. Linebacker, to be fair, though, with a neck injury to Leighton Vander Esch, pretty much ending his season. I don't know if it's going to be potentially career ending. I think it's the time to go after the first linebackers. Again, Junior Colson is the best one on the board. However, Danny Stutzman's really close. I mean, they've obviously seen him up close, personal many times, and he is so close. Like, I have Junior Colson at 42, Danny Stutzman at 45. Like, they're like neck and neck. So, got to show some love to Danny Stutzman right there. At pick number 55 for the Steelers, Jackson Powers-Johnson is definitely up there. Also, we have pick 87 to go after the Georgia center in Cedric Van Pran-Grazier. So I'm going to potentially pass on that for the time being. We went after, actually, hold up. We went after Graham Barton in the first round. We don't even need a center. Holla. We are going to be going potentially after a corner or after a safety. I really love DJ James. If you were able to put on 10 pounds, he's 165 pounds. That is no bueno. Safety-wise, we could go after James Williams. I think he's being criminally underrated at this point. I don't get that, but, there's bigger issues in the world. In fact, I think that linebacker, in going back to Michigan, we didn't have very much success there last time, but instead, this time we're going to add like 40 pounds. I don't know how. I think Devin Bush is 230. We're going to add 20 pounds and a couple inches of height. Actually, 5 inches of height. Devin Bush is like 5'10". So we're going to go Junior Colson here out of Michigan. He's the best linebacker in the class. This team does need actual leadership in the linebacking room. And again, RIP to Cole Holcomb's knee. It's just, you got to do what you got to do. And again, Amarius Mims is not coming out in this. Steelers fans, like, I love y'all because I am one of y'all. But, like, pipe down. Pipe down, yo. Pick number 56. I'm debating going Dante Corleone at this pick. Xavier Worthy might be too fun to add, though. They don't even have Anthony Schwartz on their roster, so let's get a good deep threat there. And Xavier Worthy, they don't even have DPJ either. At pick number 57, so I debated moving back up for Christian Haynes. He is no longer available. We have Jordan Morgan on roster. Dante Corleone could be a really fun pick at this point. Just continue to beef up the interior. Tight ends, again, just not good enough. Would have loved, honestly, Johnny Wilson on the squad. That's not going to happen, though. So, other positions of note, again, we could look at the offensive line here. Get a very versatile player, Jackson Powers-Johnson. I don't know if he comes out because he is, this is first year starting. But looking at other players to potentially develop, you could go after someone like Blake Fisher or Patrick Paul. But unfortunately, you really want to go right tackle only, so you're down to Blake Fisher primarily. Again, Amarius Mims would be the selection for me in round 1. So, yeah, we got to pipe down on that. We're not going after that. For me, actually, I'm debating on going Mason Smith here. The upside is too good at this point. Like, you just got to find a role for this guy. He's absolutely incredible. There are some conditioning concerns. He doesn't look that comfortable in the interior just yet because he's a former edge rusher. So there's still a lot of development to be had there, but this sky's the limit. At pick number is 58. So we have edge rusher as well as quarterback. We got Braylon Trice and we got Drake May. It's pretty baller. Now you also have KT there. It's like it's starting to build up to be a really good roster. Now it's down to wide receiver and offensive line. You got Jalen Polk here. It could be a true wide receiver 1. 6'2", 204 pounds. Like, for me, that's somebody that this team's been dying to go after. And that's exactly what you're going to be needing. So, Jalen Polk out of Washington's the selection. At pick number 59 for the Jaguars. I think, did we go? We went after a wide receiver probably in the first. Xavier Legette, yes. At this point, man, is Princely still on the board? He is. Like, it's him. And again, I have Xavier Thomas extremely highly. I like to, show my board, but also give you a taste of what's real. Like, I like to throw my little twist on a realistic mock draft. But I think Princely, yeah, he has a good size to him. He's capped athletically. He's very good at his bend, solid enough get off, but you will see that he has a lower top speed. I would assume that he runs in the 4.7s at the highest, and it's still very solid. But I could not, unless he really works on his body over the offseason, which he could. I don't see him getting over that or under that 4.7 mark. At pick number 60 for the Niners, Terrion Arnold was the first round selection. I'd be very open to Jackson Powers Johnson at this point. I think that'd be a really, really solid addition. And the fact is, you don't need him as a guard or as a center. You can kick him to guard if you want to. I think that value is a little too good for my liking. But at the same time, I think I did this as well in my mock draft on Monday, go after an offensive tackle like Patrick Paul or Javon Foster. I'm going to opt out of it, though. And we are going to go after Jackson Powers Johnson, the more proven product out of Oregon. At pick number 61, there is a potential concern at tackle for this team, in my opinion. Just Ronnie Stanley can't stay healthy. I don't trust Daniel Failele. There are some issues. However, we're going to pass on those for the time being. Pretty sure Denzel Burke was my first round selection for them, and he was. I think that the next position I would probably target would be defensive interior. Brandon Dorlus could go right into where they used to have that Calais Campbell role, and I think that's the right thing to do. Brandon Dorlus is an absolute freak show, so I'm fine to give him the love where he deserves the love. At pick number 62 for the Lions, we ended up going Dallas Turner in round number 1. I still think a boundary defensive back. I mean, again, there is just such a big drop off. There really is. It's unfortunate, and I love DJ James's talent, but small corners just don't usually work, and it's unfortunate. So we're gonna go Dante Corleone here. I have a strong feeling he'll return because he could end up being a first round pick, but for us, we're gonna appreciate his presence now. At pick number 63, and again, Amarius Mims is returning in this mock draft. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, who ended up getting Leonard Taylor at the end of the first round. Y'all are going to get an absolute freak show steal here in Troy Franklin. He fits exactly the profile that you're looking for an MVS build. He's a little bit on the lighter side, to be fair, but he's just about 190 pounds. I think he'll be perfectly fine. And at pick number 64, this was part of the trade up with Philly. We have the Seahawks. So yeah, this was the move up when we got Leatu Latu. And at pick number 64, we have already addressed offensive line because, why the hell not with Troy Fautanu? At this point, we are going to be going after a linebacker. And for me, you could pretty much throw any of these guys' names in. I really like Curtis Jacobs. Don't know why he's that underrated. My next linebacker on the list, in fact, is Curtis Jacobs, but that's because he's very well-rounded all around. You got Tyron Hopper in there. You got Peyton Wilson. You got Olafosho as well. I actually really like the idea of going Adefawan Olafosho, the Washington linebacker. I don't understand why he's not listed here. So, Tevin, you are going to be my placeholder for him. This is going to be Adefawan Olufosho, Washington linebacker. He's just super consistent. Like, where is he at on my board? Yeah, he's number 69, which is just so nice. It really is nice. So there you go. At pick number 65 and beginning round number 3, we have the Panthers who moved up for a wide receiver. Did we get all roads lead to Rome? We did. All roads lead to Rome. Now we have this selection where looking at the edge rushers, I really like Jasheen Davis. Wake Forest, obviously relatively close to the Panthers. I think are they both in the same? I think Wake Forest is in South Carolina. Regardless, it doesn't even matter. It's close geographically. Now we could go Clemson. That's even closer. I actually like that. I love Jasheen Davis. I want to give him some shout outs, but Jalen Harrell is going to be my placeholder value. And we're going to be going after Xavier Thomas, my number 27 player in the draft. Want to double check to make sure nobody else is on my board still that has slipped through my memory cracks. And so far, no. How about no? We actually have Jermaine Johnson here. So Jermaine Johnson's the only, or Jermaine Burton, not Jermaine Johnson, is the only one who is left available. I can almost guarantee you he'll be probably pick number 67. At pick number 66, though, we have the Vikings. And running back is something at this point. Marshawn Lloyd. Can you imagine having essentially DeAndre Swift on your squad? That'd be ridiculously good value. So, yeah. Y'all end up getting JT Tuimoloau, Marshawn Lloyd, and look at this. You can trade it up for Christian Haynes. Or actually, you didn't even trade up for him. You just snagged him. Great value. At pick number 67, this is going to be Jermaine Burton. I'm not going to draft Brendan Rice, so it is what it is. But this is going to be Jermaine Burton out of Alabama. At pick number 68, we already have Johnny Wilson, Jerzon Newton. So we have Johnny Newton, Johnny Wilson. We also have Chris Jenkins, and we have Kool-Aid McKinstry. Like, at this point, I actually really think that Jasheen Davis, who had 8 pressures versus Florida State, could be a massive, massive addition. That being said, I really want to go guard for this team. And we can always get another edge rusher. This class has plenty of them. I fell in love with the idea of Donovan Jackson pairing back up with his buddy there. Also, he has a length to play tackle, so I gotta throw that out there too. So he could potentially be trained to be bookend tackles with Paris Johnson. But at pick number 69 for the Bears, look at this. Cedric Van Pran is on the board. And so far, we could get another edge rusher. We obviously don't have a second round pick because that's Montez Sweat. So we ended up drafting Olu Fashanu and Marvin Harrison. Continuing to boost the offensive line, we got Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia here. At pick number 70 for the Packers, we've gone running back, we've gone tackle, we've gone safety. Again, Amarius Mims not in this mock draft. So, there's not, again, that many needs. I don't really like saying that, but this team doesn't have that many issues. You could go after a wide receiver that's a little bit more sure-handed. And for me, that would probably be Brian Thomas. But I just don't really feel like that's what y'all would target. Deep down inside, I just don't feel comfortable with that idea. Kalen Carson could be a top-tier DB. He got eaten up quite a bit by a top 10 pick in this mock draft in Keon Coleman. But who hasn't, to be fair? And he's a really good corner. You could definitely sit there and develop him. And it saves you some money on the cap when those contracts start coming up. At pick number 71, would have been honestly fun to bring in Kalen Carson as well with Kobe Durant. And then I know that we already drafted a corner in the last round for the Rams with Josh Newton, but now you have two guys. You have 2 duos of chemistries in your secondary. But I think we'll be perfectly fine. Looking at the defensive line and linebackers, I'm primarily going to just focus on that. Edge rusher, you could get Jasheen Davis to pair him back up with Kobe Turner. That would be quite funny. That would actually be pretty cool, too. But defensive interior-wise, you got Ruka Roro here. You have Byron Murphy. You have Michael Hall. Tyleek Williams, which ever since I found out he was 290, because multiple sources have different stuff, but I went to Ohio State, and they say 290. I was a little bit lower on him because I thought he was doing that at 320. He still commands the field with his physicality at 320, essentially. But, for me, this is worth developing because he's such a talented player. I mean, I've had him. Where's he been on my board? Where's he at? He's been at 53 on my board for a hot minute now. So it is good to see that the love is worth it. At pick number 72, this could end up biting me in the ass because they could actually end up bringing. Oh, Ray Davis is so good. But I'm going to go Bucky Irving to replace what they have in Josh Jacobs. At pick number 73 for the Falcons. So at this point, we have drafted. I want to double check what we drafted. We drafted Chris Braswell. Did we have a second round pick? We did not. That was last year. But you got Braswell in there, and you also have Bo Nix. So this is a funny situation because I am debating going after a corner here. And unfortunately, again, this corner class thins out really quickly. And that's not something I like to see. I could look for some extra linebacker assistance because just the value is too good. But I think this is what we call a good trade back spot. And there are some teams that need left tackles. To be honest, I'm looking at one right here that'd be pretty happy with Patrick Paul. So I'm actually going to do a 1-pick trade. I'm actually having the Falcons trade back twice. So spoiler alert. But the Falcons are going to be trading back twice. This is going to be essentially negligible draft capital, negligible. But the Falcons are going to be trading back twice. Got a little bit of a Patrick Paul situation here. So now we have both tackles, both edge rushers. That is going to be a good place to start for this team. Pick number 74. Again, we are trading back at this pick. Now, looking at the guys who are available, we got some top tier linebackers, top tier in quotes. Edgerrin Cooper, I'm not over the moon about. The more I watched him, not super sold. Barrett Carter, pretty big fan of him. Jeremiah Trotter, not a fan. And then you got Curtis Jacobs, who I'm pretty big fan of. So I'm looking at some teams that might be a little bit aggressive for a linebacker. I could totally see the Raiders in the certain condition that they are. They do need a lot, but not as much as maybe I'm starting to show with their desperation. The Eagles definitely need another linebacker, and unfortunately, I'm not really seeing one. How heavy is Curtis Jacobs? He's in the 230 range. He's almost 240, though. That's actually quite a big surprise, but I highly doubt that he'd be taken before pick 83. There are some teams that could still use some linebacker help in here, and that's what I'm trying to gauge in terms of a trade back. Like the Jets could totally use it. I want to see. We got a wide receiver for the Jets in the first round, didn't we? We did. We got Becca Buka. Love that for him. That would have been honestly a good pick. Patrick Paul would have been a good pick for the Jets. But regardless, I don't really see that many teams being super aggressive for a linebacker, maybe besides the Raiders, because there's some really good value here. So the Raiders are going to make a very small move up here. It will require a future 5th round pick. Maybe it will require a future 6th round pick. I am not sure. That's something that is not my specialty. It also is not going to affect this mock draft. So feel free to negotiate yourselves. And again, all the quarterbacks have decided to return. Therefore, we've gotten quarterback, we've gotten running back, we've also gotten a defensive back. I want to double check on that. Yes, TJ Tampa. So y'all are going to continue killing the draft. And you're going to get a top tier linebacker here in Barrett Carter. At pick number 75. So defensive back, we've already gone after Cam Kinchins. We've already gone after a wide receiver in Keon Coleman. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to go after Javon Foster, developmental left tackle out of Missouri. He is a monster in the run game, just needs some coaching up. This might not be the best team for it, but this is just unbelievable value. At pick number 76 for the Jets, I'm going to actually get a developmental right tackle. Again, Amari Smith's not coming out in this mock draft. We're going to be going Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame, just to potentially never have ABT play right tackle again. At pick number 77 for the Broncos, Mr. Unlimited is going to get some extra assistance here. I believe we went after a corner in round number 1. That's what we normally do. And we did, Kalen King. So corner round number 1. At this point, for me, I would look into the wide receiver realm because they do seem a little bit open to changing what they have there. And Brian Thomas has the upside to be essentially unreal at 6'4", 205 pounds. He really does have that X build that's worth taking a swing on. Have him paired up with Marvin Mims for the future. That could be a nasty duo. For the Chargers, we already traded up to get Brock Bowers. I do think defensive interior is a position you could still target. And you have pretty much 3, maybe more, really good options here. Ruka Roroho is really special in how he can play defensive interior and edge rusher. I forgot Byron Murphy's weight, but 310. I mean, he's a freak too. I don't know why these UT guys are getting low-key disrespected, but you got Rook here, who I think has the versatility that y'all like. And it's why you probably drafted Tuli Tuipulotu last year as well. So you're going to get some very good value right there. Linebacker is another position I'd be open to, but this team feels like they're one to solve it through free agency. But at pick number 79, we have the Colts. We've already gone. Did we go wide receiver for the Colts? I'm slipping up on my memory now. We did. We got A.D. Mitchell, so I'm not slipping up, as well as a defensive back. So at this point, based on what I saw from your roster, you could use some extra defensive interior help, and Byron Murphy is going to be that dude. You already have the sub 300 edge rush or interior defensive lineman in Aditamiwa Adebawore or Ade Tombiwa Adebawore. But for the future, besides that, don't really have much. You have a contract expiring for DeForest Buckner after next year, and Byron Murphy probably needs a year to fully develop. Pick number 80 for the Falcons. It would have been a good pick, honestly, for the Falcons to go after Byron Murphy. But looking at some other options here, I do think this is a good time to get a third corner. You don't have to get guys who start on your roster at this point. Wide receiver wise, honestly, Ladd McConkey could be someone that you keep in Georgia. I do like Ladd McConkey, and he's showing that he's getting better and better. And at this point, I think it's worth spending the draft capital on a true deep threat. You now have Bo Nix, who could probably utilize that really, really well. So it's best to do that. Honestly, I kind of feel bad. Where did I end up taking Troy Franklin? I feel like, it's because I did the video today. I was like, damn, like, what about Troy? I could have taken him here with Chris Braswell, and he ended up falling to 63. That would have been cool to pair him up with, what's his name, Bo Nix, but, that's for another day. I picked number 81 for Green Bay. Again, all those quarterbacks have decided to return in this specific scenario. I think we can go defensive interior. I do. I think that based on the value available, I want a run stuffer, though. That's my problem. I don't see any really good run stuffers because you got the pass rush, not the run stuffing ability. So for me, I think at this moment, this team doesn't need much. Again, this team's really good. You could get another running back. You could get some depth offensive line. And honestly, I wouldn't blame you for going Cooper Beebe here. But I'd rather trade with a team that's going to start Cooper Beebe. Looking for a team who could use a left guard. Honestly, the Steelers, we could use one. I don't think Isaac Suamalu is going to be the long run option for us. Jacksonville, that's a long run option for sure. I do think, actually, left guard for the Texans is not a bad idea. So let's go with the Houston Texans. Let's continue being very, very aggressive overall with our strategy. For this, we will probably have to do 124, but we will end up getting, let's just say, 217 in return. The Texans have moved up because I don't think you guys actually need that much. And you are going to be selecting an offensive lineman here in Cooper Beebe. Consistent beast on the front. Like he faced UT and he was the only one who didn't die that game. He did a really good job. At pick number 62 for the Bengals. So we drafted Karan Amajaje for y'all, as well as the tight end from UT, speaking of, Jatavian Sanders. At this point, I think that getting some extra pass rush help on the inside is key. Mekhi Wingo, I got to give him some credit. He's been on a tear this year. Got to show some love where love is due. The Eagles at number 83. I would be totally, I don't know why it's selecting interior offensive line. All right, buddy. We are going to be in the market for a linebacker here. Edgerrin Cooper could be worth it. I know people are going to want Jeremiah Trotter. It would make all y'all so happy to see Jeremiah Trotter on this team, but he's just not good. I'm sorry, he's just not good. He has a couple good games, but he's 6 foot, 230 pounds, so he's undersized, and he's slow. I'm so glad that he can perform in college, but I just don't know deep down if he can perform in the NFL level. I think he should go back. I think he should improve himself as an athlete. But Curtis Jacobs close to 240 pounds. He's also Penn State, which I love Penn State. And, he is, where is he at on my board? My number 49 player. So there you go. Great value as well. At pick number 84 for the New York Jets. What do we do with our last pick? We got Blake Fisher. There you go. Blake Fisher, as well as Emeka Egbuka. At this point, you could be open to a quarterback like Joe Milton. And I think, I don't think they're going to draft Joe Milton at this point. It feels like they're going to be a type of team to go after another quarterback down the line. I could try to recuperate some extra draft capital here. They actually are pretty low on the running back now, since you just have Bryce Hall primarily on the roster. That's, adequate enough in my opinion. You could go after a potential linebacker, actually two. This wouldn't be a bad spot for a linebacker for the future. I'm actually going to trade this to the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is time. It's time. Seattle is making a move. They're going to get ballsy here. It's a super short range trade, so this might take 163. Maybe we'll take that 5th round pick that we got from Philly, but we're moving up with the Seahawks to draft a quarterback. And it's going to be Joe Milton. I want to double check to make sure I haven't drafted one already for y'all, which I don't believe we did. We drafted a linebacker in Edefon Olufosho, as well as a offensive lineman in Troy Fautanu. Now we get the quarterback in Joe Milton. He's just falling here because I've lost quite a bit of faith in him. Him at 43 is not representative of the fact that, of what he is right now. He's just somebody who I'm dropping very quickly. But right guard to me is also a concern for the Lions. Let's go Zach Zinter. Excellent value. He's been super consistent even versus, Penn State. He's allowing 0 pressures. So, to be fair, there's 8 opportunities to let up a pressure. But let's talk about that another day. At 86 for the Cowboys, we've already drafted a top tier. Did we draft a center for him? This is where Jackson Powers Johnson went. No, it was not. It's Danny Stutzman. We can still go interior offensive line for this team then. And there still are some very good options here. Zach Frazier at this point is a very solid center. I'd be open to that. I love Javion Cohen, but I want someone with some center versatility, and I feel like this guy could be right up the Cowboys' alley. However, I don't have him that high, and there's some really good running backs that I think can be pretty damn complimentary to what y'all have, and therefore Jonathan Brooks is going to be the selection. I don't think Jonathan Brooks is necessarily amazing at any one thing, but he's just super consistent and very solid. He makes people miss, but I'm just curious if that translates to the NFL as well as it does in college. At pick 87, the Steelers are going to be going after James Williams. I don't think I need to explain that too much, but strong safety is a big concern for us for the long run. James Williams' value is unbelievable at this point. So we have a center, we have a linebacker, we have a safety. Not the craziest positions on planet Earth, but honestly, they're just good, solid positions. If I were the Browns, I would have taken James Williams too. At pick number 88 with the Browns, we ended up taking Xavier Worthy in this with our last selection. At this point, I think McKinley Jackson's upside is worth it at 320 pounds. He's just been statistically underwhelming this year, but the upside's there. It's worth taking. There's some pass rush upside at 330 or 320, excuse me. At pick number 89, we are back with the New York Jets. I'm going to go after another wide receiver at this point. And that guy, even though you don't necessarily need him, Jacob Cowing is going to be another addition to your squad. He's essentially going to be the Elijah Moore that you used to have. So Emeka Buka, he can actually play boundary too. So that's why I like it. You can have Emeka Buka, Garrett Wilson, and Jacob Cowing to be a nasty trio for the future. At pick number 90 for the Jaguars, we have now gone after edge rusher as well as wide receiver. Looking at the defensive backs available, this is where you could go after someone like DJ James to see what happens, but I'm going to go after Chris Abrams-Drain out of Missouri. Big fan of Chris Abrams-Drain. I believe he's my number 64 player. He's number 68 now, so still respectable nonetheless. He's a top-tier defensive back who can play safety, he can play corner, he can play slot. For me, I love that versatility. I wouldn't be against it if a team took him early too. I'll put it that way. For the Niners, we have taken Jackson Powers Johnson as well as Terrion Arnold. You could try to continue to bolster depth at this point with DJ James because he is the best corner that is available by a good margin. I'd be open to that too. I just want to look and see if there's anybody who I think would be developmental. You could get Jack Sawyer in here and get another one, but want to look one more time at the offensive line, see if anybody's really worth taking a shot on. Myles Frazier is pretty damn good. I'm actually going to go Christian Mahogany. We're going to get 2 offensive linemen back to back, and Powers Johnson as well as Mahogany. Next, we have at 92 the Baltimore Ravens. We've already gone defensive interior with Brandon Dorless. We've already gotten cornerback with Denzel Burke. Now, at this pick, I would actually debate going after a developmental edge rusher in Jack Sawyer. That's probably the best thing you can do. Honestly, develop a guy with a ton of talent, and that's going to be Jack Sawyer here. At pick number 93, at this pick, we've already gone defensive interior, I believe. Where's the Lions' last pick? Dante Corleone. So we got Dante Corleone for the squad. For the first round, double checking Dallas Turner. So D-line has been the primary focus. We're actually going to go, DJ James just might have to be relegated to the slot. This is one of those few teams where I'm pretty comfortable with where y'all are at. Oh, we actually went Zach Zinter as well because I was like, I feel like I went offensive line for this team too. So we focused heavily on the lines. We're going to go actually after a wide receiver for the future. Looking at the guys available, I'm going to show some love to this guy because he deserves it. Ricky Pearsall out of Florida. This dude's just been consistently a beast, and I want to give him the respect he deserves. At pick number 94 for the Chiefs, we have already gone defense interior and wide receiver. At this point, we are going to see where the hell Jaheim Bell should be. I also think Sinnott is a good spot, is a good target for them as well based on his after the catch ability, but for the time being, that's fine. For the Packers, I'm going to actually get one more running back. We ended up going after more of a vision type of back. I might want to go after someone with a little bit more juice and speed, even though he is pretty damn solid. I'm talking about like Will Shipley here. Ray Davis is a beast. Honestly, let's get the ground and pound dude in Braylon Allen. Why not? Let's just have him absolutely annihilate people. At pick number 96, we've gone after edge rusher. We've gone after DB. We've gone after wide receiver for the Jaguars. Now I'm going to probably go after a potential center replacement in Zach Frazier. I think it's the right time. At pick number 97 for the Eagles, we have gone after linebacker. We have gone after wide receiver. We've gone after tackle. I think I want to look at the DBs now. I do think DJ James could be developmental. This is a team that doesn't need to start him, so he can honestly put on weight too. But we're going to go after Javon Bullard, safety / slot out of Georgia, to be the longer term option because he's also a Georgia DB. So you have instant chemistry with half of that damn roster. Pick number 98 for the Niners. The Niners and their freaking compensatories. We've already gone 2 offensive linemen as well as a corner. I do think a wide receiver like Antoine Juice Wells could be a potential Debo replacement. They have a lot of stuff that they have to get in order first before they get all their contracts in place. And Juice Wells could be that insurance policy that you're looking for. At pick number 99, we have a wide receiver as well as, I believe, a defensive back there for the Bills. Just want to double check right now. And I think I just went past it. No, we got a corner as well as a wide receiver. Now with this selection, this probably should be a safety. Looking at the ones available, Jediah Barron's kind of a slot. I'm not a fan of actually the guys who are left. I'm not. I haven't seen enough of Billy Bowman. Maybe Rod Moore is actually a pretty good choice at this point. But looking at the offensive tackles that are available, again, Amarius Mims is considered returning in this, so he's not falling. For those of y'all who are wondering, I mean, you could just try to. BPA. Let's just try to find a team to trade out with. Sorry, Bill. Like the value is just not that good for you. Looking at the next best guys who are available, I actually love Tyron Hopper. So I want to see a team that would love to have a blitzing linebacker. And who did I get for a linebacker? We got Adefawon Olufosho. I'm actually going to make a small, minute trade here with the Seahawks. Literally, it'll be like a round 7 pick next year. Whoop-de-doo. The Seahawks are going to be going after another linebacker here. This time a blitzing one in Tyron Hopper. And because he needs to go. I really like him. And then to end it off, I really want Blake Corum to end up on a roster. This could be a really good team for him. That's actually a good idea. Let's end off the draft with Blake Corum. So that is going to be the draft, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Adblock, for totally ruining my end-off sesh. But thank you so much for watching and supporting the show as always. See y'all on the far side. Peace.